You're listening to the Savvy Social Podcast, the show for budding entrepreneurs who want to understand the how and the why of social media marketing. I'm your host, Andrea Jones. Let's get started. Hello, welcome back to the Savvy Social Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here because today I'm talking with Katrina Garnes, and she has a 9-to-5, she has a side business, she is juggling it all without burning out. So today I want to talk about that and about Katrina's journey. So before I dive in, let's hear a little bit about Katrina. So Katrina Garnes is an ambitious millennial. She spent the last 8 years learning and educating and executing successful digital marketing and communication strategies while serving her community. Garnes is currently the Director of Marketing and Communications at a graduate institution in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I'm from. She began her career by starting her small business, Cold Storm Media Productions. She does a lot of video editing, which I'll hear about in the podcast. She's also one of the founders of MINGLE of the Pee Dee, which is Minorities Involved in Networking, Growth, Leadership, and Empowerment. She's also won She Magazine's Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. She is rocking it. Katrina looks forward to expanding and reaching the lives and minds of not only youth, but millennials across the world. Now, I am so excited to talk to Katrina because we're going to dive into her backstory, how she runs her business. We're also going to talk about the 4 keys to juggling your full-time job and your side business. And then we're going to talk a bit about how to streamline your social media scheduling because you guys know I'm all about streamlining and making it easy. So you'll definitely want to listen in to what Katrina has to say, what she's learned, and use it for yourself. Now, before we dive into the episode, just a quick reminder that you can subscribe to the podcast. So subscribing is free, absolutely free. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, there's a little button that says subscribe. When you hit that button, you get all the future episodes right to your mobile device. Now, if you're listening on Android, you can use Google Podcasts, which just came out, or you can use Stitcher or Spotify. I'm on Spotify as well. Any of those apps, you can listen to the podcast. Just search for Savvy Social Podcast. I have links to all of those apps at the SavvySocialPodcast.com. That's SavvySocialPodcast.com. And you can get all of the show notes at SavvySocialPodcast.com. See, I'm making it super easy for you. All right, let's dive right into this interview. I'm excited for you guys to hear what Katrina has to say. Hi, Katrina. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
Yes, I love this. So let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your first experience with social media as it pertains to business. Like, how did you dive into this whole world of being online?
Oh, let's see if I can make a long story short. It started off when I was in college. My major was mass communication with the focus in television broadcasting. Because the school that I went to wasn't really big on communications, didn't have a big communications department, I wanted to go outside of the traditional learning environment and, learn things on my own. So I did a lot of shadowing. I did a lot of YouTube videos trying to figure out how to edit videos myself. How to shoot videos myself, just how to do everything outside of just being in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. That led to me starting What's Going On, which was a YouTube series where I interviewed local business owners and local public figures. And from there, they started asking me about who was editing my videos. And I kind of said, well, I am. So that led to me creating promo videos and digital commercial videos for them. And they used those videos as a way to market their businesses online. So what was supposed to start off just as me learning and eventually doing video production turned into me doing online marketing for companies using videos.
I love
And
that
from
because
there it grew.
yeah, I love that. Video is so powerful
Right.
for communicating a message. So let's talk a little bit about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
When you're creating these videos, what is the structure? Like, how do you guys tell stories through the video, or how do you get people to take action based on a video you make? Tell us a little bit about that marketing process that goes into creating a video that actually helps out these businesses.
Well, first of all, you want to get an idea of their market, who they're trying to target. You want to get an idea of what they're creating a video for. You definitely want to create a storyboard so that you're not just going in and shooting the video. And one of the things that's important for me is that I have a team of people working with me when I do these video projects. So it can be timely, but I'm a big planner, so I like to plan everything out. So just making sure that you plan, you know, the target audience that you're trying to capture for that particular video, that is something unique, that is something that's exciting. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the storyboard. You mentioned that. What goes into planning a storyboard for businesses? Like, give us some tips for maybe some of the businesses who are listening who are thinking about creating a promotional video that they can put on social media.
Right. So you need to so in the storyboard, it's just basically everything as far as the content that's going to go into putting this video together. So whether it's deciding on where the first scene will be located, the location of the scene, who's going to be in the scene, what's going to be said in that particular scene, the different shots that you might want in that particular scene. So the storyboard is just a step-by-step guide for you during the video shoot to be able to execute it without trying to figure a whole bunch of things out the day of the shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so important because sometimes we try to go on the fly and do things as they come, and that will take so much more time.
Right. So if you're going to shoot in this location, do you have permission to shoot in this location? Mm-hmm. Do you know who's going to be in this particular scene? So all of those things are things that you have to consider before going out and just shooting a video.
So tell us a little bit about the process of actually shooting the video. So we talked about before, like planning it, storyboarding, making sure that you have a plan so that you can use your time wisely while you're there. But once you're shooting the video, what tips do you have for business owners, whether they are shooting the video themselves or they're hiring someone like you to help them kind of shoot this video? What are some tips that will help them be successful and help their video be like an actually really good video that they can post on social media?
Some tips to help them be successful. I just would say be comfortable as far as if they're the talent in the video, be comfortable when you're shooting. Keep in mind, it's not live unless you're shooting a live video because live stream is really popular now. But if we're talking about just fully produced videos, just be comfortable. Understand that it's not live. You can stop, you can start, you can stop, you can stop. You can make mistakes. So understand that everything isn't going to go smooth, that mistakes will happen. But the great part about it is you can start again. You can do it over. And one of the things that I found really helpful for me is making sure that you have someone on set that day to assist you. Because one of the things, I'm so used to doing everything myself, and I can go into this, but just for video production purposes, when you have other people that day assisting you, that's less things that you have to worry about, and you can focus more on what it is that you have to do while you're recording. So having someone there to assist you is definitely a major key that will take a lot of other distractions out of your head while you're filming.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, not just for video too, for everything in business, having an assistant can really help speed the process, and really that helps you focus on what you need to focus on and only you can do.
Right.
Yeah. So let's say the video is done filming. What do you do next? Like, how long does that process take for editing the video, and what goes into that?
Oh, what do you do next? It's definitely a process, and because if you plan accordingly, the editing process isn't that difficult because you already know what it is that you're trying to produce. I use Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects. I've been doing this for so long, so oftentimes it doesn't take me as long as it used to in the beginning editing videos. To be honest, it's been a while since I edited a video myself, and that kind of goes hand in hand with what we just talked about, having other people on your team to kind of help you help you focus on what you need to focus on. So it's been a while now. And this is me taking a shortcut talking about something else, but I have my own business, but I also have a 9-to-5 job. And my 9-to-5 job, I do the exact same thing that I do in my business. So I edit a lot of videos on my 9-to-5 job, but as far as my business, because my hands are in so many things, I rarely edit videos myself these days.
Okay, so that brings up another question that I really want to talk to you about, which is time management. So you have this 9-to-5 job, you're running your business, you're doing it all. Girl,
Right.
How are you doing it?
Well, I talk about this a lot because there's a lot of people who, have businesses and who have 9-to-5 jobs. And it's 4 keys that I try to use. Make sure that you are managing your time correctly, making sure that you are organizing yourself as much as possible, making sure that you, which a lot of us don't want to do, are taking time to just breathe and relax. Because a lot of times we don't want to do that, and making sure that we're prioritizing our tasks. And I try to use those 4 things, and it kind of helps me out as far as making sure that I'm not going insane. But it works for me doing those 4 things.
So tell me how that works together. So in your 9-to-5, you do the same thing as you do on the side. So that's got to make it a lot easier.
It does. It makes it a whole lot easier. So it's kind of like all day long, I'm just perfecting my craft, but it can be a hassle. So sometimes a typical day for me can look like me getting up in the morning, doing an early morning consultation call before I go to work, scheduling a meeting during one of my lunch breaks, getting off of work, heading to another meeting, and then going home, and of course working on projects for my clients. So it can be a lot, and I think you have to understand, if you're going to do it, you have to be dedicated. So a lot of things that normal people my age are doing, I'm not able to do because I work during the week, and then on the weekends is when I can get the bulk of the work for my clients done. So it's a 7 days a week thing. It's not something that you can just get into and say, hey, I'm just going to do, if you're going to do it, you have to do it right. And because I'm really in it to win it, a lot of my time and a lot of my free time goes towards my business. But I think you can do it. You just really have to be dedicated to whatever it is you're trying to do, or whatever it is your craft is. I think anybody can do it as long as you're managing your time right and you're dedicated.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it takes a lot of energy to have that sort of creative output. You're basically putting it out 24/7.
Right.
So it takes a certain level of passion to have that happen.
And that's why it's so important. Like I said, a lot of us don't want to do it, but that's why it's so important for us to, even though I'm going, I had to learn, you have to just step back at some point and just breathe and relax and understand. We hear this quote all the time, but the work isn't going anywhere, because it's not. So Yeah.
Yeah.
Breathe.
I like to talk about that with social media too, because some people are like, "Oh, I haven't posted today." Like it'll be
Right.
okay. It'll be
Yes.
okay to have 1 day or 2 days off or whatever it is. Take some time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about social media. I know I follow you on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and tell me about kind of your approach to social media. How do you use it as a tool to kind of get the awareness out there for what you do?
Oh, social media is like my number one outlet to get the awareness out there as to what it is that I do. But social media is a great way to just be authentic and tell your story. It's a very non-intrusive way to do that in an inexpensive way, so which is why I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love social media because it's provided a non-intrusive and inexpensive, absolutely free way in most circumstances for me to put my brand out there as far as my business, my personal brand, for people to know who I am. It's been amazing the amount of connections that I've made off of social media. You, for instance, you're all the way in Canada, Niagara Falls.
Yep.
And I think I started following you a few years back because I remember when I had my digital empowerment mastermind event, I reached out to you and you said, "Hey, I'm not down there." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know why I thought she was near me."
Mhm.
So that was just so interesting. It just provides a way for you to connect with people
Mhm.
that may be in some instances so far away, that may decade or so back you wouldn't have been able to make that connection. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And I need to make my way back down to Atlanta soon. Um, but tell me a little bit about specifically like your content. You talked about you use social media. It's a non-intrusive way to get your brand out there and to tell your story. So what goes into planning your content? Like, how do you know what to post? What is your strategy when it comes to putting content on, let's say, Instagram, for example?
I use social media calendars, and I use scheduling platforms. Hootsuite is a free platform that anyone can use, because a lot of people, they look at social media and they think, "Oh, it's so hard. I don't have time. I don't have the energy. I don't know. I'm just so busy." But I'm not on social media every day posting things. And this is the gym for all you busy business owners or worktrepreneurs who work in 9 to 5 and have businesses. Please use social media scheduling platforms. Us who create content, that have regular content that we put out there, we're not posting every day on social media. We're scheduling out content. So platforms like Hootsuite are great for you to schedule out content. And you're able to schedule things in advance. So if a holiday's coming up, creating a simple post related around that holiday, you have an event coming up, you have any special coming up, it's a way for you to schedule out those posts because you know in advance. And it's all about planning. So it goes back to that same thing, planning. And social media scheduling platforms like Hootsuite are great for creating content and distributing content to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever platform it is that you're on.
I love that. I love that. Because I always talk about that too. Plan ahead and then it's there. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. So I'll put a link to Hootsuite and a couple of the other things that we mentioned in this podcast in the description as well for everyone listening. So tell me a little bit about your growth on social media. I know you and I are connected on social media. It was a great connection. But how do you make connections on social media? What's your strategy there? How do you grow your following?
I think it's all about knowing who your audience is. That's very, very, very important in order for you to grow your following. You have to know who it is that you're talking to, because if you're creating content that doesn't resonate with your followers, then you're wasting your time. So it's very important that you know who your audience is. I mean, just as a business owner in general, and this isn't just marketing, you need to know who it is that you're selling to if you're selling a product. If you're online creating content, you need to know who your audience is, because you need to create content that resonates with them. So when you're creating good content that people are that resonates with your followers, that's the type of content that creates growth and not only creates a following, but helps you create a community of people online.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. The power of knowing who you're talking to.
Right. Yeah.
So important. All right. So before we wrap up here, I want to talk about your new book. Tell us about it. I'm so excited about this.
Oh my gosh. So this has been an ongoing project that I've been working on for some time now. And it's an ebook, and it is 10 ways to market your business online for free. And basically it covers everything that we just was talking about, or we've been talking about during this entire interview. It's a great book for people who are busy, that don't think they have the time, that don't think they have the money, who are people who may have the money, but they think that they don't have the time. It's a great book that basically shows you how to market your business online for free. It's not just a book where we're naming things that you can do online, but we're giving you step-by-step instructions on how to really build a strategy around these things, and how to really utilize it. And we're giving you real life examples as far as how to market your business online using these specific avenues that we talk about. One of the things that we talk about is podcasting. You've seen a lot of podcasts pop up in the past year or so. Podcasts have been the thing, and it's a great way to build your brand almost absolutely for free in a lot of circumstances. But how do you do it? What platforms do you use to start your podcast? What type of content do you talk about in your podcast? How to develop an audience, what it's going to take. So we're giving you step-by-step instructions on things like that in this ebook. And oh my gosh, we've been working on this book. Me and Nicholas Calhoun, he co-wrote the book with me. He actually works with my company, Cold Store Media, so it was great working with him. And it's been a crazy process of editing and re-editing. And oh my gosh, this was like this is my second book, but my first book was more of a guide and it was really short. But this is my baby, and I'm so proud that I completed this project.
That's so exciting. I have a book on my to-do list, maybe 2020. I'll get to it, year 2020. But I'm always really impressed when someone can write through the whole thing, because my husband's an author, so like I can see the process from that perspective, and it is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And just like we've been talking about planning, the beginning process, just before you even get started writing, like this, putting together the structure of the book and putting together the type of content that's going to go into the pages. It was a while before we even started on the book. I'm like, oh, what did I get myself into? But it was definitely worth it. And I take so many calls from people who schedule discovery calls, and they think, well, I really wish I could use your services, but, I don't have the money to use them. Or, I get calls from established business owners that are like, well, I don't have the time. And, this book is for you all. So this is an inexpensive way for you all to gain the knowledge that you need to be able to execute your online marketing for free. So it's no more excuses. That's the slogan that we're using for this ebook. No more excuses. So all the calls that I take, and again, this is knowing your audience. So all the calls that I take, all the people on social media that reach out to me, this is for you.
I love that. And where can they get the book?
They can purchase the book on my website, www.codestormmedia.com. And if you use the promo code 10, and that's 10 ways, you get 10% off your purchase.
Ooh, yes. Awesome. So check it out. The link will be in the description. 10 ways to market your business online for free at coldstormmedia.com. Thanks so much, Katrina. It's been great chatting with you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. And it's like I said, it's always so crazy when you finally get to connect with people that you've been following online. It's kind of like you know them, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I do that all the time too with Facebook. I'll connect with people on Facebook and I keep seeing their face so much that when I go to a networking event, I'm like, I feel like I've already met you.
Right.
The power of social media. I love it. Well, thanks so much. And hopefully we'll connect soon.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for listening to the Savvy Social Podcast. Wasn't Katrina awesome? Make sure you find the link to her ebook and everything we talked about in this episode by visiting SavvySocialPodcast.com. I'm so excited to also see you inside of our free Facebook group. Just search for the Savvy Social Crew, CREW, on Facebook, or you can type in the URL SavvySocialCrew.com. Thanks for your support. Thanks for supporting the show. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.